Yay, Jeff Kaplan is going to present us something. Avoid his teammate.
What's up, everyone? This is Jeff from the Overwatch team.
Hello.
We have...
Hey Vroomsters, in this episode just for you, developer update, avoid his teammate. And we're starting right now. Yay, Jeff Kaplan is going to present us something. Avoid his teammate.
What's up, everyone? This is Jeff from the Overwatch team.
Hello.
We have a very special feature to talk to you about today. The mindset we were in when we created this feature was that we needed to give you more ways to craft your own gameplay experience.
How
As you
so?
all know, Overwatch is a team-based game.
Yeah.
And that's what makes the game really fun, is playing, winning, sometimes
And the
losing with
BM.
other people. But also, sometimes those teammates can cause frustration, and at times it feels like you're kind of helpless with no control over the situation. And that's the problem that we're trying to rectify. So we had a feature planned for Season 10.
And
we
that
have
was?
some really amazing engineers, and they were able to get it done sooner, so we want to introduce it to you as soon as possible. This feature is called Avoid as Teammate.
Oh, that's
and
interesting.
Let me describe how it works a little bit. So you'll play a match with somebody, and then anywhere
don't like
where
them.
you can normally access that player in the interface.
They are a
if
bad
you're playing
Genji.
on PC, you can see them in the chat. If you're playing on PC or console, everybody has access to the social menu. And wherever you can access a player, one of the new options that you'll have to set on that player is Avoid as Teammate. Now, let me describe what it does.
Prefer as enemy.
You can have
Yes, please.
up to 2 teammates avoided at any one time. And
Just
I'll
2.
explain that
Okay.
number a little
That's
bit more in detail and why
feasible.
we came to that number. But you can have 2 teammates avoided, and when you select somebody to be avoided, they will be avoided for 7 days in terms of the game putting them on your team before it makes a match. Now, sometimes you will still see that other person on the other team, but they shouldn't be set to be your teammate for 7 days.
Does that mean
At the
shouldn't
end of
or
7 days,
won't?
They drop off that list. Now, you can re-add them to that list if you want, but you only have 2 slots, so you have to be a little bit mindful of how you manage that list.
That's an interesting
Also,
way
in the
to
social
implement.
menu, when you've avoided somebody, there's now a separate section that shows the avoided players that are there. So if you ever want to unavoid somebody that's there, that's perfectly possible.
There's
as
2
well.
people.
Now, to give you a little bit of explanation of why we're doing this, there's a lot of occasions that happen in the game where you're frustrated with a teammate, but it's not necessarily a reportable offense. So perhaps
Put
somebody
them
on
on
the
the
team
enemy
is
team.
completely disagreeing with the heroes that you're picking, and they keep saying in chat, whether it be voice chat or text chat, you know, hey, I really want you to switch from hero A onto hero B. Why aren't you playing them instead? And you're starting to get really
half
frustrated.
an hour later.
And the person's not harassing you. They're not saying anything overly negative, but you just don't want to be grouped with them again. That's a great example of a chance to use Avoid as
The
Teammate.
passive-aggressive
Another
button.
example is when you actually do report somebody. Maybe they are harassing you or they are using inappropriate chat. If you want an immediate action of not being matched with that person in the next match, not only can you report them, but then you can also avoid them as a teammate for that instant action and give you control over your experience.
Nice
Now,
idea.
there are some side effects of this system that
Longer
everybody needs to
matchmaking.
be aware of. One is that there's the potential that this will cause longer queue times for finding a match. Now, it's highly unlikely, especially at the middle skill tiers, that we'll see any sort of lengthening
Imagine
of
at
queue
top
times.
players.
But it is possible,
That would be
especially
something.
at levels like Grandmaster, in smaller regions in off hours, that using the Avoid as Teammate function is going to
cause
longer
20-minute
queue
queues.
times for everybody. And this is something that we'll be keeping a very close eye on, and that is why everybody's
only 2
limited
people.
to only such a few number of players. We have systems in place to monitor this. If we feel like we can open it up to more players, we certainly will. The other thing that we're going
That's
to
a
keep
good
a
idea.
really close eye on is match fairness as well, to make sure that the matchmaker is still making great matches and that Avoid as Teammate is not causing any issues there. Now, there's one other extreme case that I want to make you aware of, because some of our players are inevitably going to run into it, and that is that if you are a player who is being avoided as teammate by many, many other players,
Ooh.
you're going to get a warning when you log in. That says, hey, a lot of people have avoided you as a teammate. When this happens to you, you just need to realize that for that week, you need to be concerned. One, you should be thinking about why are so many people avoiding you as a teammate. But the second thing is that you're going to run into longer queue times because the system, it doesn't have a hard time finding you a match. It has a hard time finding you a team.
People want to play with you.
If you're in this situation, the best thing for you to do is to just form your own group and then find a match. You should find a match in regular time at that point. But the system, when you've gotten a high number of avoid as teammates against you, the system is going to have a very difficult time finding you other teammates to be on your team. This will only happen to a very small percentage of our players, and we believe that the
very
behavior will
small
correct over time when
percentage.
players realize that they're doing things that other players are sort of crazy about. So we think this one will fix itself very quickly. As
That's
with
a
all
nice
of our
one.
systems, we're paying very close attention. We hope that you enjoy having more control over your experience
That's
in Overwatch. And
brilliant
we're going to
idea.
continue to bring features to you that let you craft the experience exactly how you want it to be. Thanks so much.
That is a really good idea. Whoa, so there is a lot to talk about here. First of all, the avoid as teammate button I think is a great idea when you're having a bad time and one of the players on your team is giving you a bad time. You can avoid them for a brief period of time. Also, the limitation of 2 people I think is totally enough, because if you start avoiding everybody, there will come a situation where you don't have anybody to play with, because the matchmaking is based on a vast number of people, and if you limit that number of people, there are fewer people to play with, and the queue times get longer, which is a very, very big idea. So I think the limitation of 2 people and the 7 days should work out nicely in order to give you the potential to block people who are really pissing you off. So I think this is very well thought through. Let's see how it works in practice, and maybe they will increase the number of people, maybe not. We shall see. On the other hand, if you are the person who's being avoided as teammate and can't find matches, that's going to suck. But then, peer pressure is something to bring people back to normality, I think. So please subscribe to Play Overwatch and this channel as well, and tell me in the comments below what you think about this option, and see you on the next episode of Vroom Reacts.